Hey there guys, gals, non-binary pals, my name's Zenosfire, and today we're going to go over Mastery and Affinity. We talked about it a little bit in the 10 tips video from last time, but now we need to go a little bit more in depth because there is just a ton more information here that we should go over. So let's get right on into it, let's figure this out together. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's review what we discussed last video. We have a few different ways to get affinity, but mastery is largely from leveling up our warframes and our weapons, which we get through collecting affinity. So they have that sort of indirect correlation there. Your mastery is your account's level. So for instance, I'm mastery rank 27. Your affinity increases the ranks of your warframes, weapons, companions, and vehicles such as Necromech, K-Drive, and Archwing. Now, for every rank that you get for weapons, you increase your mastery rank of your account by 100 points. So weapons will give you, generally speaking, 3,000 points, and warframes will give you, generally speaking, 6,000 points. Now, there are a few exceptions to that rule. The first being the Tenant and Kuva weapons. So Tenant and Kuva weapons, every time that you form it goes up a rank, specifically 2 ranks. So as you can see here, I have 80 energy. You get 1 energy per rank, and then 2 if you have a catalyst inside of it. So as you can see, I have 80 here rather than the typical 60 from a normal weapon. So that means my rank is 40. That gives me 4,000 mastery rank per weapon when it's a Kuva or Tenant weapon. Before we get on to anything else, let's discuss how affinity gets allocated to your weapons and warframes when you're using them. Now, in the last video, we discussed how 25% of all affinity will go to your warframe, and then the remaining 75 will get split between your weapons. That actually turns out to not actually be completely correct. I learned something new, by the way. It works in completely different ways than even I expected. So let's go over that now. If you're using a high DPS warframe like Saren, for instance, where she's just killing things willy-nilly all around the map, all of the affinity for warframe kills will go to the warframe specifically, and will not get split between the weapons. If you kill with just a singular weapon, and actively using that singular weapon, your affinity will get split between the weapon and your warframe. If you are receiving affinity from allies killing things, it gets split in that 25% to your warframe and 75% to your weapons, evenly divided by what weapons you have equipped. Now, as we discussed in the last video, if you only have one weapon equipped, all 75% of that remaining affinity will go to that singular weapon, and that's a great way for you to actively level a weapon. Companions are a little bit different. They actually gain affinity mirrored to what you gain on your weapons and your warframes. So whatever you get on your warframe, you will mirror up on your Helios, for instance, here. But it's split a little bit differently. If you have a animal companion, such as a Kavat or a Kubro, you get 100% of the affinity on the pet specifically. However, if you have a companion that has a weapon, it gets split 50-50. Now, companions are worth 6,000 mastery, and their weapons are worth 3,000, exactly the same as with your warframe and its weapons. A quick thing to note with modular things, such as MOAs, or weapons like Zaws and kit guns. You need to guild them before you get any mastery rank for them, meaning you go down to the respective vendor, you go to other, and you click guild, which requires you a little bit of standing and a few resources, and it will reset the rank of the pet or weapon, and then you level it up again, and that will give you your mastery. Also, that works with your operators' weapons called amps. Now let's talk about our deployables and our vehicles, being Archwing, heavy weapons, K-Drive, and Necromechs. You only, of course, get affinity with them when you're using them, and Archwings can only be ever used in Archwing missions, open world missions, or in Railjack missions. Necromechs can only be used in open world missions and Railjack missions, K-Drives, any open world mission, and heavy weapons you can deploy at any mission as long as you have this special item equipped to it in order to use it, called a gyromag. Now, it's very important that they work very similarly to how warframes work in leveling, whereas your Archwings are worth 6,000 mastery, and the weapons are worth 3,000 mastery, Same with Necromex, except the Void Rig actually goes all the way up to rank 40, meaning it's worth 8,000 mastery. Because remember, it's 200 mastery points per level for these bigger ones. Now, one of the other ways for you to get mastery within the game is by completing missions. So any of these blue, blinking, thumping drum beat missions that you have here, when you complete them and unlock the next missions, you get mastery for it. Not only that, but for every junction that you complete, you get an extra 1,000 mastery. So it is very, very important to finish off the whole entire star chart, as that gives you a ton of extra mastery within the game. The other way for you to get mastery is by completing your plexus and increasing your intrinsics. Your plexus is just the rank of your railjack, so just by doing railjack missions, you'll increase the rank of your plexus. Pretty freaking easy. Your intrinsics, on the other hand, you get by doing railjack missions, and each level of these intrinsics, being 1 through 10 times 5, is worth 1,500 mastery, so it's worthwhile to actually do railjack if you're looking to increase your mastery rank. If you're ever unsure whether or not you've gained mastery for something, just come here to your codex. You go under the Universe tab, and for instance, we're going to take a look at Warframes. If it has this little laurels figure up here in the corner, that means that you've completely leveled it and gained all the mastery you possibly can get from it. If you scroll down, for instance, I have quite a number that aren't done yet, and you can see the progress of them with this little blue bar. Once the blue bar is filled up, it goes to this teal bar, and you get the laurels, and that's when you know that you've completely leveled up and gained the most mastery you possibly can from a weapon or warframe. Now, this is the exact same for companions and for weapons. Something that's important to note is variant weapons. So here we have our Detron, our Mara Detron, and our Tenant Detron, which are all 3 different weapons and will give you 3 different sets of affinity. So it's important to notice that. One thing to note is modular weapons like kit guns or Zaws, no matter how many combinations you have, and in the case of kit guns you have primary and secondary versions, you only get the mastery once for each weapon type. Now with kit guns, it's based off of your barrel, and with MOAs or dogs, it's based off of their head. So keep in mind that you will need to keep track of what ones you've already completed and what ones you haven't, and you can keep track of that within your codex. With all that said, why is it so important for you to increase your mastery rank, other than just having a bigger number next to your name to make you seem like you're more experienced at the game? Well, actually, there's a lot of warframes, weapons, and activities that are locked behind certain mastery ranks, so you need to be able to reach that rank in order to use that weapon, warframe, or do that activity or quest. Now, there is a ceiling to that, though. If you get to mastery rank 16, you no longer have anything that's locked behind that. So you don't need to worry about it anymore once you get to that point, and you can just coast along and enjoy your time. One of the other important uses of increasing your mastery rank is increasing your daily standing limit with your syndicates and open world factions within the game. Now, every day you only have a certain amount that you can farm for each faction, meaning that if you have a higher mastery rank, you can earn more and quicker and advance further with those factions and thus get their loot faster, which is really important for certain things, like kit guns and Zaws, for instance, are fantastic weapons within the game. So there we have it, Tenno, a little bit of a deeper dive into Warframe and how affinity and mastery work within the game. If you have any more questions, comments, or you think maybe I missed something, feel free to shoot a comment down below or stop by my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Xenosfire, where I stream 5 days a week. If you liked the video, feel free to give it a like. And if you super like the content that I've been making, feel free to shoot me a subscribe, as it really helps the channel and I greatly appreciate your help. And until next time, take care, be good to each other, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.